Down, 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 down. What's up, everybody? You are tuned into season 2 of the Elks Call presented by Shotgun Sports. My name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, aka Edmonton Elks.
So we're going to dig into this show in a moment, but first we got to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're watching on our YouTube, which is Shotgun Sports Network, Facebook or X, or if you're listening on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Edmonton Sports Talk, or wherever you get your podcast. While we're here, if you could hit the like, subscribe, or favorite button, that would be greatly appreciated. So for today's lineup, it is a stacked show, as always. We're going to open up with the More You Didn't Know with Tim Enger of Football Canada and the IFAF U20 World Football, the Football World Cup. So we're going to have a discussion with him about the big event happening between June 20th and June 30th. Then we're going to dig into Kathy's Herd Report, talking about the latest Edmonton Elks transactions and news. Following that, we're going to give you an Edmonton Sports update, and then we're going to cap the show with the Fan Forum, where we discuss hot topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks, the CFL, and the sports world as a whole. So be sure to blow up the Herd chat so we can get your comments and questions onto the show. Let's kick it off with the More You Didn't Know, brought to you by the Winnipeg Terminal. Catch the flight with Mike and Joe every week, talking all things Jets and Bombers on Shotgun Sports Network. Wheels up. So today we chatted with Tim Enger about the 2024 IFAF U20 Football World Cup, which is a big event coming to Edmonton on June 20th, featuring multiple nations, events, and a lot of football. So blow up the Herd chat and let us know what you think of this. We did talk to Tim earlier, so we do have a recording of our interview.
So let's get going.
Let's check it. Tim Enger, welcome back to the show. We know you're a very busy guy at this time of year, already with your duties at Football Alberta, especially right now, though, because of the IFAF U20 World Juniors coming up here in Edmonton, the Football World Juniors. Tim, thanks again, but what is the IFAF and what's the history of the event that's coming to Edmonton?
Well, it's pretty young still comparatively. When you think about international competitions, tackle football certainly doesn't come to mind. American football in particular. IFAF is short for International Federation of American Football. It was founded in the late 1990s, and starting in the early 2000s, they started to do what an international organization is supposed to do, which is run competitions between nations. And, you'd be actually surprised. IFAF itself has over 75 member nations. And, they all play some semblance of tackle football. There's some powerhouses, as you can imagine, but there's some surprising countries out there that are quite strong as well. So this World Junior idea has been going on since 2002. That basically is your kind of first year university players, I think, would be the best description of the athletes they're getting. And so you always get the big two from North America, Canada and Mexico in there. And then there's qualifying events, believe it or not, all over the world. And so we've got coming into this event, we've got the European champion, which is Austria. You've got the Central American champion, which is Panama. You've got South American champion, which is Brazil. Oceania is represented by Australia, and then the Asian champion is Japan. And this event here it's the first time since I think 2012 it was in Austin, Texas. But it normally travels around the world, and it's been in some pretty strange places. It was in Kuwait once. It was in China. I guess the Emir and the Communist Party wanted to see something they hadn't seen before, so they hosted it there, and but we really think this is going to be the catalyst of really bringing this home, because the last event was in 2018, which is in Mexico City. Was quite well attended for the final. Didn't hurt that Mexico was in the final, so they had about 35,000 people at that game. But Canada, believe it or not, has won this thing 3 times. So and is the defending champion. So we're quite excited about them doing what they do very well in on the home turf.
That's super exciting, especially that we're the defending champions, so we definitely have something to prove.
Yeah.
So what is your role in the upcoming event, and how does Football Alberta tie in?
Oh Lord, what don't I do?
I feel you.
That's an easier question to ask. No, well, the event was awarded to Canada in 2018, and we were sitting around at this. They made the announcement at a Football Canada planning meeting in Ottawa, and immediately my hand went up. I don't know whether this was my wisest move, but there is no other place in Canada that you want to run international events than Edmonton. Edmonton's got the best track record of any city in Canada of not only hosting them well, but getting behind them as well. You look at the examples of the Commonwealth Games, the World Universiade Games from the last century, but also in 2001, I believe it was. 40,000 people were in Commonwealth for Christine Sinclair's coming out as a soccer player, as the U17 girls world championship. Also 2001, they had 60,000 people a night watching track and field at Commonwealth Stadium for the World Track and Field Championship. So I can go on and on, but I mean, that was kind of our logic to then, like, you look at the traditions all in the Edmonton area, you look at Edmonton's ability to host international events, this had to be the place. So Football Alberta put together the bid. We beat out Regina and Laval for the right to be the Canadian host for the event, and we've been working on it ever since.
Now, was Clark Stadium being right beside Commonwealth, was that a bit of a factor?
Yeah, it's because the things that tie all this together are we're kind of trying to be environmentally conscious. We're trying to use the LRT as the main point of transportation for the teams. We've got them, at the Weston and the Chateau Lacombe, who have been outstanding, by the way, in terms of really adapting to what we need to, especially in the food category. They know they got to feed these guys a lot of food, but yeah, we want to move up and down the LRT, and we've got 8 nations. So if you try to squeeze across 8 practices a day in between games, you need 2 venues, and what better setup than Clark and Commonwealth side by side. It also gives us great flexibility with the games because we don't have to try and fight to have 4 games in one location on one day, but we can spread the games out, give teams adequate warm-up time, and use both Clark and Commonwealth to the best advantage we can.
Definitely. Football will be played on 3 days, with all of the 8 teams playing on each day. So what does that format look like down to the championship game?
Well, it's basically an 8-team draw. You've got you win your first game, you go on the A side. You lose your first game, you go on the B side. You'll always get kind of a semifinal game on the next round, and then the final games will be on the last game. So everybody will be playing for something. Clark Stadium will have the 7th and 8th place game, and then the 5th and 6th place game, and then at Commonwealth will have the bronze and the gold game. So again, formats not necessarily associated with football that you've seen in the past, but we need to. You're going to come here just for one game, so we need to give them a full slate of three competitions, and then see how it goes. I mean, there's some real interesting stories out there with the who knows what the Central and South American teams are going to be like. I know football's popular down there. Brazil in particular, they're getting an NFL game this year. They've really they've upped their game. We've watched some of their game film, and these guys aren't bad. This is going to be interesting to see how they do. Japan always puts on a good show, so it's going to be interesting to see who earns the right to play their final games in Commonwealth after the first round.
Totally, and like you say, with Clark and Commonwealth being there and games happening simultaneously, like you could really get a feel of every single team if you really want, and go check them all out.
We do have tournament passes. If you're a real junkie and you've got 12 hours on your hands, then come on out and you can. Oh, seriously, we've had people buy tournament passes. They want to watch them all, and why not? Because it's when in your lifetime did you ever think you'd get to watch a football team from Brazil play?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and against Team Canada at that, right? Like, there's so many storylines.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Canada, last year saw Edmonton host the 2023 Football Canada Cup, which the finals were never played at Commonwealth due to heavy smoke, nothing that you guys could control. How will last year's national event help with the hosting of this year's World Juniors?
Well, we learned a lot. We've got a great bunch of volunteers that were with us last year, and the vast majority of them have plugged in again. So it's basically the same tournament. The only real difference is just one extra day of practices between games. So our hosts know what to do. Our game ops team knows what to do. That's the easy part. Now, the events that you spoke to, we had a couple situations happen during the Football Canada Cup that totally blindsided us. One was we had an incident on the LRT when one of our teams was threatened by someone who wasn't in the right mind at the time. So we had to switch to busing for the remainder of the week. We are going back to the LRT, but we've had great meetings with the city, the LRT police, the Edmonton Police Service. We've got the schedules all set. We feel very confident that issue has been addressed, and the teams will be very safe in their transportations. And the other thing is the smoke. This is our world now. We have to recognize it. We've been fortunate so far, as I knock on wood or any wood I can find, that the weather's been cooperative so far in terms of a wetter spring than normal, cooler spring than normal. But we're still just into June. That could change in a hurry, and those forest fires are always at the waiting. But we do have backup programs. We've got great. Again, the city has been more than cooperative in terms of recognizing what we need to do. The field house at Commonwealth is available to us if we have to put teams inside for practice day. And then if we have to, we will keep our schedule by playing our games indoors at the Scottish Soccer Dome on the south side of the city. Now, it won't be pretty, and we won't be able to get fans in there, but we will be webcasting the game, and we will get the event will go as scheduled one way or the other. So we learned our lessons, and I think we're prepared.
Well, that's really good to hear, that Edmonton has been more than accommodating and looking at different ways that they can make everything work regardless of what happens. It is a big event. We have countries coming to Canada, from outside of our country. So it's a big thing. And really, Edmonton is a fantastic sports place. And we all know that. So how special is it to host an international event here in Edmonton?
Well, for me in particular, I mean, I think I've watched it since I was a kid. My parents volunteered at the Commonwealth Games in 1978. They did it again in 1983 with the World Universiades. Just to watch the way Edmonton goes around and gets a hold of international events, because we talk about whether people are football fans or not, and they're going to come to this thing, but we're not necessarily selling football. We're selling Canada. Come cheer on your country, and Edmonton does that very well. So that's kind of the magic we're hoping that takes off. Now, we've got a bit of I won't even call it a cloud over our head. It just is what it is. We are absolutely thrilled that the Oilers are in the Stanley Cup final. However, they're sucking up a lot of oxygen right now in terms of the tension in space, rightly so. But we're working around that as best as possible. And we're just like everybody else. We want to see them win. A sweep would be nice. Nice for them, and then on their merry way. But it shows you this. Just look at the passion that Edmontonians are showing for that. It can happen. It can happen for us, to us, and again, I can't see this happening in any other city in the nation.
No, and that is a very interesting fact. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers, I think that everybody's tuned in from all across Canada, right? So, like you said, it goes to show how passionate we are here in the city of Edmonton. Now, getting back to that support piece you were just talking about, the city of Edmonton and other partners, such as the Elks, have been supportive from what we understand, and based on what you've said here. What are the other ways you're seeing support right now? Is the community being really responsive? Are you guys seeing other partners step up?
Yeah, well, one partner that's been great for us too is the province of Alberta. They've stepped up with their major cultural and sports event grant. That's solved a lot of our problems. We've got we don't have what you would call a title sponsor or a big hitter or something like that, but we've got a lot of little guys, and what they've done is they're buying tickets. They're buying tickets so we can give it to kids what is it? Kids up close or something along those lines. Forgive me, I don't know the exact lines, but Yeah, I mean, so we're able to move the tickets to the groups that normally wouldn't be able to afford them, and then we're also able to give huge discounts to the people that are members of Football Alberta to do that. So we were greatly appreciative to that. And then we've got a lot of value in kind people that will like, for example, we're bringing the NFL experience in for the latter part of the week. So for the last 3 days, we'll have the NFL experience set up in parking lot B outside Como Stadium. People can come and experience that, and that's all NFL Canada. They're bringing it all in there. However, we need fencing around that, so we found a fencing company that's willing to help us out in that regard. So these are the things we're cobbling together. That and it's funny, we don't hear a lot of no's. Like we'll hear somebody doesn't want to give you cash. That's fine, but what else can they do? And it's been that's been very. Very, very nice as we move along.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And I mean, just to touch on that point that you were talking about, this event from the NFL that they're providing, we hear that there are some big events planned throughout the week for the IFAF World Juniors. Sorry, I always screw that up. Is there anything that you can share at this time? Anything else?
Well, the most exciting thing, and we've just confirmed this, is that part of the NFL experience, and one of the things that we're doing is we want to marry together all football. So we've, the Elks have been just fantastic in terms of their support. They've put us in a few directions. They've been very understanding of what we have to do with Commonwealth Stadium. We have to basically convert it to a NFL field. Because again, there's 75 members of IFAF, but only one plays Canadian rules. So you imagine we have to, we got to make a few adaptations there. But they've been very supportive, and we were over at the stadium today. Their guys have been great. We're going to work some stuff with them and with the Australians and the Americans who are coming in early for their training camps. But we actually tried to focus all of our stuff at the end of the week of the actual competition because we actually anticipated the Oilers going to the Stanley Cup, believe it or not. We figured we weren't going to fight with them at the beginning of the week and try and do something during game 6 or 7. That just wasn't going to fly. So after our semifinals, it'll be basically a football festival down at Como Stadium. Again, we'll have the NFL experience. The highlight of that will be the presence of the Lombardi Trophy. That was a real hard get, but then again, the NFL Canada people are working with us. On the field, while we're doing that, we're having a try-it football event for new Canadians, Indigenous, and women's groups to try flag football. That gets the support of the Elks. So you see, we're all one big happy as much as we can put together. Bringing all the best of football here. We're in negotiations right now with the CFL to have the Grey Cup present for our kickoff banquet when all the teams come in. So just stuff like that. But then, frankly, you just look at the city. We met with them again the other day, and they listed off all the other things that are going on in the city during the time these teams are here. They're turning Rice Howard Way into an entertainment district for 2 of the nights. Going on at the Oilers fan zone for free. There's a soapbox derby. I'm not trying to promote other events, but it just we thought about it. How are we going to entertain these teams when they're here? And we're like, just sit back and relax. It's been taken care of.
The city will take care of it.
Yeah.
No, well, and I mean, you're right. We're called the Festival City here in Edmonton. We always have something going on, but like you said, you're going to have Elks, Oilers, let alone Riverhawks, Stingers, and then Soapbox Derby, and so many events. It's great to see this one added onto it and being able to kind of mesh in with it. Right now, there's going to be people that aren't here. Will the World Juniors be broadcast anywhere?
Yeah, well, there will be a webcast, and that will be that's all handled by IFAF and Football Canada, so that's a bit above my pay grade, but they were racing around there today at Como Stadium, hooking up this and hooking up that. It's amazing when these tech wizards that are responsible for setting up the webcast, they come and they can't wait to tell you all about what they're doing, and just if I don't just do what you do, it's all good. But the final, this isn't 100% confirmed because they've got to move a few things around, but The final, it'll be broadcast on TSN. At the very least, it'll be tape delayed because it goes head to head with a regularly scheduled game. So, so we're excited about that aspect of it, and we're hoping that Canada will be in that game and make it worth their while for eyeballs to get on the TV sets.
Definitely, because I mean, it doesn't hurt, right, to have more Canadians tuning in to football events, and especially in Edmonton. And what a nice prelude to the Olympics coming up in a few years,
Well,
right?
exactly.
It's a very, very nice kind of way to start bringing awareness to the sport a little bit more, for sure. But where can folks find tickets and any other information on the IFAF World Juniors?
Well, just go on our website, which is World Junior Football Championships. I believe the junior is abbreviated to JR. And it'll tell you all about the event, all about the teams, and then it'll have your ability to click on purchasing tickets through Ticketmaster. We've really taken the time because, again, we've got all these kind of minor sponsors that are helping us out to the point where we really wanted to make the ticket pricing family friendly. So for $19, $19.95, you can get into any game of your choice. If you want to buy what we call our Canada Pass, which will get you into all 3 of Canada games, that's $49.95, and then a tournament pass itself for all 12 games is $99.95. So pretty good value, we think, and we're just starting to see the tickets take off now. Edmonton does support international events, but it's always classically a late buying ticket group. So we know that the Oilers have everybody hypnotized right now, rightly so. And then, but the more we get the word out there, there isn't a person I talk to out there that doesn't think this is cool. Just to have football really between nations. When has that happened before?
Totally. And one last question, just because I'm wondering about it. Do you know if you're expecting a lot of the families or a lot of other people other than the players from other countries coming to Edmonton for this?
I just was dealing with the hotels. What we did with we've got certain teams in certain hotels, and then we sent the hotels sent them a group rate if they wanted for families to come and stuff like that. And I was told today that the hotels are sold out. Now, a bit of that has to do with the fact that clearly the Oilers are using up a few rooms. But they say they've been quite pleased with the uptake. So it'll be interesting to see, like, coming from Japan's a long way, and coming from Brazil's a long way, Austria too. But what we found with the Football Canada Cups we've run is you can always bank on any athlete who's participating in this thing is going to be bringing at least 2 people with them. So the hotels are jam packed. It'll be a real raucous affair, and we'll hopefully. For our standpoint, whoever wins the other games, I don't care. But I need Canada to win some games here so we can really generate some good vibes in the city and really bring it home in a great way.
Well, exactly. And I mean, we all know what the hype is around Canadian hockey and Edmonton hockey and everything, right? But Canada football, we got to see the passion build up a little bit for that. And this only really benefits the city of Edmonton and the Edmonton Elks, and then of course our provincial programs such as Football Alberta as well. So this is a very, very exciting event coming up June 20th to 30th. Tim, we will let you carry on because we know that you're an extremely busy guy, but man, we can't thank you enough for your time today. We will be seeing you in a couple weeks at the 2024 IFAF U20 Football World Cup. Thanks again for joining us, Tim.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for the time.
Okay, see you soon. Cheers. So that was Tim Enger of Football Alberta and the 2024 IFAF U20 Football World Cup. Guys, it's a Football World Juniors.
Yeah, I mean,
how much more exciting does it get than that, right? Like, we know how this city gets about hockey, like we said, and World Juniors anything is usually a fun competition.
Like, look how exciting this looks.
Catherine on the poster. I failed my duty there, but yes, no, it's it's going to be very exciting. Shotgun Sports will be on the sidelines for this event covering Team Canada. So very, very exciting. We're going to have all of the coverage from the sidelines for you on Shotgun Sports Network. Very, very exciting. Thanks to the powers that be, Tim, Jim, and all of the great folks over at Football Alberta, and of course IFAF as well. Very, very cool to be covering this event. We also want to see Canada win, and we're all about getting fans closer to the action. So once again, in a fan-sided way, we're going to be giving you guys some sweet media on that. So stay tuned.
I mean, we'll post the links as well, just in case if you want to go check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel that we don't see a lot of these kinds of events here in Edmonton. I mean, we have all other types of events going on right now, but when are you going to get to see Panama or Brazil or Japan or Austria coming and playing? So that's pretty cool.
Well, and yeah, it's you're seeing all of these nations here in Edmonton. When anytime there's an international event, it's generally celebrated by this city. So Team USA potentially could be winning it as well. It's also good. It's going to be American rules, which is really cool.
Yes,
we're seeing Commonwealth converted into an American football field, which doesn't happen with this stadium very often. So there's a lot of reasons to be excited about this. Team Canada, show up, represent, fill Commonwealth, guys. It's going to be hopefully a beautiful summer stretch. About 10 days there. That the three days total, but a span of 10 days. So so once again, big shout out to Tim for joining us for that. Before we move on, I did see that John was asking how tickets are doing. They're doing all right from what we're hearing. We could always buy more tickets. So tell your friends about the World Cup for sure. And then maybe get Snoop Dogg in to come in for the afternoon. Since he's in town on June 20th. That would get fans down to the World Cup, I'll tell you that much. Snoop Dogg's a bit of an international man himself. So
very true. I'm pretty sure people in Japan know about Snoop Dogg.
Everybody knows about Snoop Dogg. Yeah. And also, everybody, a big shout out to you for tuning in and watching or listening right now to the Elks Call here on Shotgun Sports Network. If you could hit the thumbs up, give us a like, subscribe while you're at it. We would greatly appreciate the support. We're still trying to give away that sweet Double E signature jersey, which we have a jersey to talk about. We're going to get there in a bit. We're going to talk about the whole event, the fan forum. That's going to be near the end of the show. But next up, we have Kathy's Herd Report, where Kathy brings you the latest Edmonton Elks news and transactions. The Herd Report is brought to you by Off the Reins podcast. The Birmingham Stallions are going for the 3-peat, and Ryan Messer has you covered for the journey. Find OTR every week on Shotgun Sports Network. Giddy up.
All right. So let's start it up with the game recap. Once again, I apologize. This is the segment where I talk a lot. But please feel free to join in on the conversation. We are going to talk about the game that happened on Friday, May 31st. We went against the BC Lions on the second preseason game. And unfortunately, the Elks were defeated with a final score of 26-9. You were pretty close on the prediction there.
21-9 was my prediction. 26-9 within 5 points. Had one of the scores absolutely correct. Unfortunately, it was ours.
You were spot on that. I mean, what does that say? Anyways, first of all, I mean, let's point out that we did not have starters in this game, and we did go against BC starters. So even then, you knew exactly what was going to happen. You had an idea, but obviously this was a game that was meant to see which backup would secure a roster spot by the end. I think we were all expecting that. And I mean, BC's pro experience was clear. They outgained the Elks 418 to 197. So the stats don't lie.
That's a complete opposite from the game before, right?
Yes.
We doubled up on Saskatchewan. The only thing that was the same was the outcome.
And I mean, they had Vernon Adams there.
Yeah, so, big play VA.
Yeah, you know it. During the first half, the Elks offense started strong. Dylan Mitchell scored a 20-yard touchdown on that opening drive. So I think when we saw that, everybody was super excited because we were wondering what kind of game we were going to watch. Right.
Yeah.
Daggy, he was in and he had a solid effort as well. He completed 8 out of 10 passing attempts, contributing 66 yards and a touchdown. However, he was forced to leave due to a lower body injury.
Yeah, and enter Malik Henry, and I don't
Yes.
think that's. I know you're going to get there, but I don't think Malik Henry was quite ready for that.
He definitely, I mean, we saw him coming in the second half. Really, this recap is not going to be that long because we all know what happened. But Malik Henry, he seemed to struggle a little bit. He completed 7 of 15 attempts for 87 yards, 0 touchdowns, and interceptions. So, I mean, the interceptions part is good.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he didn't seem to really quite find that momentum.
Couldn't find momentum. You could tell where Daggy had familiarity with these guys, whether it be in practice with the Bees, or just being on the team for over a year now. He had that comfortability. He had started a game last year in regular season, so he knows what to expect. He knows what it takes in the CFL at this point. Malik Henry, unfortunately, he's a rookie quarterback coming in at that point. So he had an opportunity. Unfortunately, he just didn't quite have that chemistry. He just couldn't find that momentum.
Yep. And we all saw it. I mean, after that, both teams' defenses did their thing, really. And I think we saw a couple of field goals in the second half, one by, Faithful of the Elks, of course, during the third quarter, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The Elks offense was not able to capitalize on any opportunities, really, during the second half. We did see punter Jake Julian doing his thing. He nailed a couple of coffin corners, as you like to call them, or two, in addition to, stopping a potential BC return touchdown near that midfield. So he definitely was a player to watch.
Jake Julian looked great. That tackle, that looked great. He played safety valve there on that play. So I
was confused by that.
Yeah. Well, and see, I've seen, Hugh O'Neill have to tackle guys down the field. Hugh O'Neill missed the tackle. Jake Julian, his bit of NFL experience showed. He went down and he threw his body on the line. He was also nailing those punts as well. And he was loving it. He was having fun shooting those punts. Like Jake Julian.
I feel like he's always having fun.
He's always having fun. I mean, at the end of the day, Jake Julian has been one of our better players on the team for the last couple. I want to say at least he's been on the team, I want to say, for a full year now.
Yeah.
So so Jake Julian, he does his job. No, the special teams, they were probably one of the better phases. They were probably the best phase in that game. I would say
way better than last game for sure.
Yeah.
So that's good to see. I mean, that you have maybe parts that would work better, not necessarily with the starters.
Yeah.
So even then, that's good to see that you have something to play with.
Yep.
But let's talk about this Q3 short yardage quarterback experiment with number 15 Cole McDonald. As if we don't have enough PTSD from those 1st and 1s and 3rd and 1 scenarios.
What are you doing?
Where did he come from?
Where did he come from? Who is this guy? And then all of a sudden, Dustin Nielsen and, shout out to Dustin Nielsen. But yeah, when he was on the play-by-play, him and somebody else, I forget who his partner was, but they're like, oh yeah, well, this is the new Edmonton Elks short yardage quarterback. He's coming in to be the new short yardage quarterback. And I'm like, oh, okay. Is he really going to be able to do the job, with this backup O-line? And he's in one of the worst situations possible. Let's throw you third quarter in the heat of the battle into a hungry BC Lions that's getting ready for 50 Cent. They're playing. A lot of these guys are even playing to stay on the team to watch
Just
Fitty.
to watch him.
Just to watch Fitty, right? Like this is it's hilarious. And of course, the Edmonton Elks do not make it through on 3 attempts at the one. Cole McDonald, unfortunately, wasn't able to punch it through. Had he been able to punch it through, let's say on the first attempt, he might actually have a job. That's the thing.
Yeah,
this is one of those scenarios. That was like one of those jobber scenarios where you could potentially take a job here if you can be extraordinary, if you can show us that you can be elite right now.
You got to prove yourself.
And he had 3 attempts, and unfortunately, he couldn't get it through. And it's the odds were always stacked against him. It's a really unfortunate situation to be in if you're Cole McDonald.
Yeah.
But the reality is that this is what you're handed. You have to be the guy that punches it through on the first one. Like you have to basically pull a Michael Riley type move.
Well, even, that's what I was going to say. Am I the only one that kind of misses Cornelius a little bit right now? Because by, that half of the season when he was as a third for a short yardage, I feel like he did great.
Cornelius was definitely a good short yardage quarterback. Unfortunately, he's just making way too much money.
100%. I mean, he wouldn't, unless he takes a severe pay cut to come back. But I just kind of really miss him.
Well, and you know what? I'll even correct myself. Michael Riley even had a good short yardage in Jordan Lynch, who ended up winning the 2015 Grey Cup. So I'll take that back. But then as time went on, Michael Riley held those balls himself and did a quarterback QB sneak to get it past, to get it over, right? Or jump over the top of guys and throw his body out there in a torpedo fashion. So, I mean, that kind of stuff happens.
That's what we need.
That's exactly what we need right now.
Well, I'll talk about the transactions here in a little bit. We did sign another quarterback that is meant to be that short yardage. So I guess we'll see. We'll see. There were some highlights. We had rookie defensive backs Cordell Jackson, Kyle Cass, and Kashawn Walker collecting their first CFL interceptions. Sorry. So, I mean, good for them.
And unfortunately, out of those 3, Keyshawn Walker did not make the cut.
I'll take a look. I wrote it on my.
You got them.
I'm gonna go through them. We also had receiver Germanic Smith. He was a popular target for our quarterbacks, and he collected 4 catches on a team high 7 targets. So.
Yeah.
The other one was, and see, this is interesting because I'm going through the highlights, and then we see that there were some cuts. So that's interesting. I mean, wideout Deontis Alexander, he showed off that speed. It helped him return a punt for a touchdown last season, and he had the longest catch of the night with a 48-yard reception. So we also have Marleshon. Did I say it right?
Marleshon
Franklin Jr. He was all over the field, and he actually led the Elks with 7 tackles on the night. And another highlight, of course, is that there were no fumbles.
No fumbles.
So that's exciting. But yeah, that being said, I mean, even though we had some guys that were performing well, I think they were the highlights of the games. Unfortunately, that still meant that there were going to be some cuts.
Yeah.
And we all knew that was going to happen. So on June 1st, and once again, just bear with me because this is where I list a whole bunch of names. We had these cuts. American wide receiver Deontis Alexander, as I mentioned, he is gone, which is a little surprising.
Yeah.
American offensive lineman Desmond Besant. National kicker Vincent Blanchard. American running back Jermaine Brown Jr., American defensive lineman Randy Charlton, American linebacker Raynard Ellis, global kicker Dean Faithful. That was a surprising one as well.
But we'll get to that.
American wide receiver John Franklin III, defensive back Marleshon Franklin Jr., American as well. National offensive lineman Alex Hall, American quarterback Malik Henry, which, I mean, after that performance, are we really surprised?
No.
American wide receiver Shane Hooks, American running back Jawan Howell, American defensive back Brian Hughes Jr., American defensive lineman Jeremiah Jackson Trotter, American linebacker Tony Jones, National defensive back Bruno Lagasse, American defensive back Donnie Lewis Jr., American quarterback Woodrow Trey Lowe III. What a mouthful. National offensive lineman Spencer Masterson, American quarterback Cole McDonald, once again, not surprising there. American defensive back Chauncey Moore, American running back Cameron Peebles, American wide receiver Travis Rudolph, American wide receiver Germanic Smith, National defensive lineman Jacob Spencer, American defensive back Keyshawn Walker, so you were right, American defensive back Brandon White, and American defensive back Marquis Wilson. Woo! Thanks for sticking through that, guys.
So there are a couple of surprising ones on there for sure. Deontez Alexander thought he actually played well. You know, we have a stacked wide receiving core.
Right.
It's very, very hard to crack that group.
We definitely talked about that, right? That
Yeah.
we just kept signing guys, and it was going to be a matter of seeing who could stay in, who was going to make the cut.
You have to be extraordinary in a lot of these scenarios. Cameron Peoples, run is in his name, and unfortunately, Cameron Peoples did not make the cut. As per that BC Lions game, he couldn't find the gaps. He couldn't run right through. He looked like he struggled in that game. Now scrolling up, it was Tony Jones. Tony Jones, which we'll see what happens with Tony Jones. I have a feeling he's going to get picked up if he already hasn't. Now, you do have some signings, and we did have some shockers on here.
So June 2nd, American quarterback Dakota Prukop. Yeah. So it's been said that he will be the short yardage quarterback. So
welcome back to the herd, Dakota Prukop.
There you go. I mean, we definitely were looking for one. Letting go. So hopefully we'll have a little bit better luck with Dakota. American linebacker Raynard Ellis. So he's back to the practice roster. Global kicker Dean Faithful was signed to the practice roster as well. So how are we feeling about that?
Well, Dean Faithful, when Boris Beatty was signed, we knew that Dean Faithful was an outsider looking in. The thing is that Dean Faithful is a global. So because of that, we had an open global spot. We were able to use Dean Faithful practice roster. So if anything happens, we know we have Dean Faithful as a backup boot, which I'll take it.
Do you think they're looking for somebody else to take over that global spot?
Not at this moment.
No,
it's Dean Faithful. He's on the team. You never know what could happen, right? You never know what happens with Boris Beatty. Jake Julian, he's a punt specialist.
Right. Yes.
We will not be moving away from Jake Julian. I mean, keep that guy. But he's not a kicker. So if he's not a kicker, you want, kickers to do kicker duties. They are actually two different type of boot for sure. Sometimes you'll find a hybrid. Kind of hard to find that guy. You see specialists more times than not. So, I mean, Dean Faithful, I think it's smart to have him back. He's also a fan favorite.
Oh yeah,
big fan favorite.
He's great. He's a sweetheart.
He
was at the Oilers game, and they put him on the jumbotron, and he was doing his little wave, his little Queen's wave. So he definitely is a fan favorite, and I'm glad that they kept him. Because even for team morale, he's really good for that.
He's great for team morale. He obviously has his stuff on the side with game day kicking, his side business, where he does training. So he's a special individual. There's also a really good story from the Edmonton Elks about how Dean Faithful is getting English kids excited about the Edmonton Elks now.
And well, that's the whole point, right? We're going global.
Yeah.
Going global, baby. We also had American running back Jermaine Brown Jr. signed to the practice roster again. So welcome back. And American wide receiver Arkell Smith to the practice roster as well. On June 3rd, we have American wide receiver Jerminic Smith that was also signed.
Yep.
So, and not to the practice roster, so they brought him back fully. So that's interesting.
Interesting. Very interesting. That's not practice roster?
No, that according to the Elks website, he was
Interesting.
signed. He was signed,
Good.
not to the practice roster.
Oh,
So
yeah, that's weird. Maybe
so,
they left that spot open for him just in case, right?
Maybe.
That's
I mean, what a roller coaster of emotions, really.
well, now
we're gonna let you go, but hey, it's just for a day.
So there's obviously all of those players when they get sent home, they get told to stay by the phone just in case something happens, right?
Mhm.
So we'll see what happens. We will have to see what happens with those guys because Jerminic Smith may be in now, but let's say we get healthier there, they're going to move him out. He may get waived,
Right.
released. We've seen where players come back like 2 to 3 times in the season, especially with Chris Jones. So he kind of has like a wait by the phone type of an agreement with
Policy.
all of these. Yes, exactly, with all of these players. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. We do have some injuries, which is unfortunate because you definitely don't want to see injuries in preseason. We have O-line Brett Boyko with head. He's on limited.
Brutal.
What's the word that I'm looking there? Limited mobility? No.
Well, limited
he's just participation.
Exactly.
He's not limited participation.
Yeah.
Wide receiver Gavin Cobb with a hip. He did not practice. So that's we'll see how he's doing in the next little bit. There's no definitives there.
Well, and at this rate, it looks like he may be out.
Yeah. There's no out yet on the website, so
Yeah.
we're still on a did not practice basis.
He needs to get a practice in.
Quarterback Jared Dagey with his knee. He also did not practice. Wide receiver Vincent Forsman with a hip. Also did not practice. D-liner Jamin Pelly with his knee.
No.
Did not practice. He's okay, but just gotta take it easy.
Yeah.
Linebacker Jake Taylor with his wrist did not practice.
No.
So a lot of these, I hate seeing this on the first because a lot of these guys played on the first game, the preseason game.
Well, but the other thing we need to remember too, right, is training camp can be really, really hard, right? So everybody works extremely hard to just make that roster. And then once you make the roster, right, you're set, you're good. You can break down a little bit, but in that training camp area, in that time frame, you need to be tough as nails and prove that you can make that team right through everything.
You need to make sure
it's almost like playoff hockey. It's you toughen up, you break down when your body is absolutely broken down, right? So and a lot of these injuries, maybe they're going to rest them for the week. We haven't heard anything about a 6th game yet, so we're going to stay tuned to the Elks media to find out if anybody has anything major. From what I saw, Jared Dagey was at the Stingers game. So it doesn't look like he's too beat up. I don't see him hitting a 6th game. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Keep an eye out. Keep an eye on those. And of course, the next game will be in Commonwealth. The Edmonton Elks will host the Saskatchewan Roughriders once again for their 75th home opener on June 8th at 2 p.m. Got moved up. I'm personally thankful that happened.
I think everybody is in the city of Edmonton.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, it was more than it. I hadn't even thought of this really, with TSN and viewer ratings. If the Elks game was happening at the exact same time as the Oilers, the TSN ratings would just plummet. Nobody would be watching.
Yeah, it's a big obvious, right? Yeah. Especially when they're competing networks, TSN and Sportsnet. You have to maintain your viewership. So, for me, it's no surprise that they did move it. It looks like the Stanley Cup playoffs are also moving around the other leagues as well. So it's cool to see that, the games are going to be all within our viewing range. And for the most part, unless you have something personal going on in your life. The sports schedule isn't going to hold you back from watching both the Edmonton Elks and the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton Super Sports Saturday. Oh, I can't wait.
It'll be a good one. And just a reminder, they will have their autograph sessions on the 8th as well. John here in the chat, he says, I like that they're splitting up the alumni autograph sessions and Ricky racing the first one. Are you guys going to be able to make any of them?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, that does bring us into a little tailgate Herdies piece. This is a little bit of a warning to everybody, or just a heads up, public service announcement. Herdies will be momentarily closed while the autograph sessions are going on. We are fans. We're also a fan service. As much as we want to be in two places at once, I got a Ricky Ray jersey that I need signed. We got some sweet things that we want to get personally signed.
We're not saying no to that. So
no, and we also have had fans ship us some items to get signed by their favorite alumni as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny. We are still doing a fan service by getting some things signed for some fans, but unfortunately, we will be shutting down intermittently to go get that done, and then maybe we'll come back, or I'll come back and tend. And then we're gonna shut down as soon as the autograph session is done.
Yes.
Warren Moon.
Yeah, I mean, you can't
Warren
say
Moon.
no to that, but we do have events every day this week. Just today, we'll talk about it here very shortly. But on Friday, there is Warren Moon meet and greet.
Warren Moon meet and greet. I am definitely going to that.
So the Elks did fantastic on all the days leading up to the home opener. So make sure that you check out their website to see what all of the events are, and if you can still make it. But today we did see the unveiling of the new jersey.
New Jersey. Ooh, okay, yeah. I guess let's talk about it right now.
Are we talking about it on the fan
We're
forum?
gonna do the opinion piece of it in the fan forum.
Okay, let's just show you now.
We're gonna give you a quick peek at what we saw today.
Yeah, let's take a look. I'll show you a quick video.
And we'll bring them up again. We'll bring them up again later on.
For sure.
Let's go.
Just a little quick walkthrough. But here we do have some close-ups of the new jersey as well. Here is the front. Here is the back. And here is MBT.
MBT feeling himself, loving that uniform. I like it. I like it. I think I'm gonna save my opinion for the fan forum.
Yes.
Guys, we're gonna talk about this in a bit. We still have one more. We have an Edmonton Sports update to give you.
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do that. Okay, let's just dig into this Edmonton Sports update. Today's Edmonton Sports Update is brought to you by Herdies. If someone asks, does Herdies actually smoke the meats? We'll say, is a pig's picnic pork? Get ready for this milestone double E season with some melt in your mouth pork sliders. Pulled pork sliders. Stall number 182 on June 8th, 2024, exclusively in the Edmonton Elks tailgate party, 3 hours before the game. And I'm going to say that we're going to be there maybe even 3.5 before the game, because we know that Herdies will have some slight interruptions.
Come get your meats before we have to go and get some autographs.
Exactly, guys. Herdies, we smoke the meats. So your Edmonton Elks are opening their 75th season this Saturday at Commonwealth Stadium. The new start time is 2 p.m. for their clash with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Edmonton Oilers are 4 wins away from Lord Stanley's Cup. the Oilers play the Florida Panthers in the best of 7 series starting Saturday at 6 p.m. Mountain. In the CEBL, the Edmonton Stingers have been defeated by the Vancouver Bandits by a score of 93-90. They returned to action on June 9th against the Niagara River Lions at the Edmonton Expo Center. The Edmonton Riverhawks are back in action, finishing a 2-game series tonight against the Ridgefield Raptors. Be sure to catch Riverhawks and Stinger games live on Edmonton Sports Talk this season. For more on the Edmonton sports scene, check out Len's sports articles on shotgunsportsnetwork.ca, where the Elks heard. You're up to date. Riverhawks play at 1:05 p.m. on Saturday and just unveiled Taylor Swift-inspired jerseys.
What do you think of those jerseys?
Those jerseys, I'm not a big Swiftie, so I'm not a big Swiftie fan of those, but it's cool that they're doing something different and that they're going outside the box.
I thought it was really weird because I was like, what does Taylor Swift have to do with the Edmonton Riverhawks?
They're doing their thing. They got a weird relationship now. And then Len Noons in the herd chat. What up, Len? Maybe Gino goes to the Stingers game again on Sunday.
Yeah.
He's a big basketball fan. As former guest on the show, friend of the herd, basketball. Eugene Lewis loves basketball.
He wants to be a player there. He wants to just be like a guest player for one.
I think that's what he's working up towards. Like, hey man, just let me in for just a quarter. We're gonna move on to our affiliates real quick. Thank you for supporting the network by clicking our affiliated links, which can be found in the description. We're a self-funded media company at Shotgun Sports Network, which means we are not owned by any sports books or other major companies. We started Shotgun from the ground up to support our fellow sports fans and even our favorite teams just 6 years ago. So we see you guys clicking the links. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for supporting us in helping sports fans get a little bit more content. So it's always fun. We have lots of fun with you guys. These affiliate links help keep the dream alive. First one hits home pretty good right now. Royal Retros. 10% off over at the Throwback Kings. Use code Shotgun Sports to get 10% off over there. All caps, no spaces. Catherine.
Guess who's going to be in town?
Friday.
Great. Well, you probably won't be able to get it on Friday.
It will not show up in time if you did not get this beautiful Royal Retros, unfortunately.
You could get a patch signed and then put it on this jersey.
That's you probably could. Now you're thinking. Now we do have a bigger jersey to talk about today. But moving right along here with our affiliates, Fanatics. You guys know Fanatics. If you use Fanatics, hit our link. Shop online with Shotgun Sports and Fanatics. They usually always have a sale as well. So go check them out. And then Lather Canadian handmade soap. It's been 3.5 months of me using their deodorant. I actually haven't made it through a full bar yet. I don't know if it's because I'm going back and forth, but it is a really good deodorant. That's just the deodorant. I'm almost out of my bar of sandalwood bourbon. Good thing I got another one on deck. Code Shotgun Sports 20, all caps, no spaces, for 20% off over at Lather. I will never personally buy another soap. Smell damn good with Lather. It's lather without the e.com. LATHR.com. All these descriptions are in the links with the codes, by the way. All right, guys, we gotta talk about this jersey. Let's open up this fan forum. Today's fan forum is brought to you by the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast. Americans talking Canadian football. Oz and Joe can now be seen on the Shotgun Sports Network. They're bringing their audibles to your screens. Everyone's favorite point: white and blue. All right, so today we are opening up this fan forum. In this segment, we talk about hot topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks and the CFL as a whole. Blow up the herd chat so we can get your comments onto the show. We see you guys already talking about our biggest topic here. So let's do topic number 2 first.
Okay.
Let's get this one over with.
Let's do it.
The Double E have released a third jersey to honor their past and present. What do you think of the jersey? what would you have done differently? What is your opinion on the new Edmonton Elks 75th anniversary jersey? And keep in mind, this jersey is only going to be worn, from what we know, once this year. Generally, any alternate jersey gets worn, once to twice a year. Usually it's a Labor Day rematch. This is only going to be worn this weekend and then potentially Labor Day rematch. No clue on if that's going to happen, but we know for sure this weekend, this jersey. Herd chat, what do you think? Catherine, let's start with you.
I didn't like it. I don't like it. I really don't. I mean, I was nice when everybody was coming out, and I, tried not to show it on my face, but my face wanted to do this. If you can't see it, I'm scrunching my face. But it's the reason why I don't like it. There's a couple. There's a couple that I think are very, very big reasons why they're not good jerseys. First is the green numbers with the yellow borders. I think that would be very hard to see from afar. Like, it's hard enough to kind of sometimes see what numbers, if you don't have the best eyesight
Yeah.
or anything, it's really hard to really see the numbers on the field if you're sitting from far away. Now, with those numbers, it will be extremely hard to see, I think. The second point why I didn't like it is I absolutely love the patch on the shoulder over here. The new Edmonton Elks Football Club patch with the oil rig and the antlers at the bottom is absolutely gorgeous. You can't see it with that silly triangle design on the shoulders. Like, it's so busy and it loses the patch that should be, the point, the focus point. That should be the thing that you see the most, so that made me sad.
Well, it's I think part of that is just the fact that it's such a big event. They obviously have the 75th patch, but then they also are looking at changing their team logo for the year, and that patch might be actually the team's logo for the season. Right now it's known as a shoulder logo or a patch logo, but we've seen now an integration of the classic double E's in with the 75 patch, and now we're seeing the vintage logo tied in with the present. I think that Edmonton Elks have done fantastic. I think that patch is definitely good.
Yeah.
It should be marketed, branded. Use that patch however you can. Maybe
I would
even
buy it. I would buy
maybe
that patch.
even consider using that logo as your main logo for the Edmonton Elks for the next 5 years. Now, John here in the herd chat, Catherine, I agree. You won't be able to see the numbers when the sun is beating down on the field. There was a comment, Bob the Maj out in BC. I want to say he's a play-by-play guy for the BC Lions. He had tagged Morley Scott and said, "Hey, Morley, you're going to really love seeing these down on the field." I agree with that. I can see where they may be a little bit tricky to see. I like the jersey. I think the jersey is good. I think that it's completely different from anything else the Edmonton Elks have done.
I do have a question here from John. What do you think of Edmonton being on the front of the jersey and not Elks?
And I noticed that. Almost immediately. I like the fact. Can you please bring it up on the screen again? The jersey. I like the fact that Edmonton is on the front because really this is a marriage of the Eskimos and the Elks. There's one thing at the end of the day that will always marry those two, and it is the term Edmonton. This jersey is a play on a classic 1950s. I can tell you right now, it has a lot of modern here. There is a lot of modern on this jersey. I would have preferred to see all gold numbers. All gold, right? John, I like your point here in the herd chat. Not many people buy stuff with the name Elks on it. That doesn't matter. That is still the second moniker. In 10 years from now, people will be a lot more used to the Elks name. even right now at 3 years in,
Mhm.
3 years in,
Yeah, but people are still complaining about it.
people
and I
are
think
still
it's a-
complaining about
I
it.
think it's a point.
People will always complain about it.
Mhm.
And that, no, John makes a very, very good point. You know, for now, people want to see Edmonton.
Mhm.
They have to promote Edmonton. When people are this upset about the name still,
Mhm.
they're not gonna wear elk stuff. They're gonna wear their old Eskimo stuff. And if
Right.
you want, or sorry, the Edmonton Elks, if they, really want to sell that merchandise,
Yeah.
it's gonna be Edmonton. That's the other thing though, is that they are marrying the Elks and the Eskimos by bringing this jersey forward. So the only way you can do that is brand it
Mhm.
as Edmonton. Now they also did. I saw the antlers in a fusion of that vintage logo, right?
Very true. Yeah.
In their
That
new
they're
patch
bringing
logo.
it in. They're really marrying the history with the new.
Yeah,
You know, so I think that patch was absolutely gorgeous, like I said, and it's a disgrace that is hidden away by that ugly triangle design.
well,
on the
I bought a
shoulder.
jersey. I bought a jersey. Catherine ended up grabbing the new
Yes, I
75,
do have it here. You can see it.
the
You
new
see it?
75 hat. It is sick. And what I like about that one, look, it's almost the
It
exact
looks
same as
very
this
similar.
one. You actually, I think, have, let's see. Yeah, they're pretty similar in double E's. They're very,
Mhm.
very similar double E's. So, yeah, I mean, they're really, really cool hats. Their hats are really nice. I did not like the corduroy style hats. I don't
With the
think.
little lace over here, I'm not sure what
Yeah,
that was about. I've
not
never
such a
seen a
big fan of
hat
that.
like that though. But I mean, we do have Ryan Messer here on the chat saying that he loves it because it doesn't look like Green Bay.
But I like the Green Bay throwback jerseys because they look like double E jerseys.
And Land over here with the ratio on wins lately, you just wear them until you lose. If they win wearing those, might as well.
You got to wear the jersey.
Gotta keep wearing them until they lose. So
I think what matters the most in this is, how are the players going to feel wearing them on Saturday? Because
I mean, look at this guy. Oh,
MBT is feeling himself in that shot. It was so. Let's talk about the event. Let's talk about the event. The actual
yeah, that was
jersey release. So the Edmonton Elks all week. We've been posting about it, and we really hope you guys are paying attention because the Edmonton Elks are actually putting on one hell of a kickoff. I'm sorry, Mom. One hell of a kickoff party
heck.
for the 75th. The Edmonton Elks, they had a with their partners. They had a draft an elk event. So that's kind of like the player that they're getting behind, and then they're donating based on what this player does for the season. So that's really cool.
Mhm.
Today they did this jersey release party. So at the top level in the patio, down at the Canadian Ice House, how many fans? 100 fans? 100, 200?
Yeah, it was packed.
It was packed. The patio was almost full. We saw quite a few fans that we knew.
Yeah.
Shout out, what was that guy's name? Eric. Shout out to Eric in the
Yes.
in the patio there that we ran into. We got to see Evan Dom, talk to Evan Jones, talk to Brent.
Yeah,
We got to
no,
talk to a lot of people, so it was.
It looked like a really good turnout. They were having fun. They had MBT and
Niles Morgan.
Niles Morgan there, and they were having fun.
Yeah.
They had a DJ, good food. Wing Wednesday, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing with the audio feed because it kept on switching back to the Blue Jays game. But you'd be partying, and then all of a sudden, and top of the fifth, and I'm like, is that Buck Martinez? Is that Buck Martinez? Where do I know this voice? That is Buck
Everybody
Martinez.
knows that
Yeah, get up, ball, get out, and no, there was no excitement happening in the Blue Jays game, so there was just like, but anyways, for the event, we grabbed our food. It felt like a party. It was all decked out, and it felt like green and gold. So our girl Christine, she had the jerseys hidden, and then we actually got a little bit of a heads up that the Edmonton Elks are going to be walking out that way. So it was nice to be able to start filming, see everything set up, and then MBT played it up to us a little bit in that moment, so that was really freaking cool. And then we actually got to see him afterwards. We took a selfie and everything, and yeah, I mean, he seemed like he was feeling himself in that jersey. The players, as long as the players feel good in those jerseys, and it helps them feel like they could get over the hump here of Saskatchewan on the home opener.
I mean,
then
half of it is confidence too, right? And if the players are feeling themselves, then you'll get fans, even new fans like my mom, who just loves MBT.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, John, we saw you there. That was sick. Asked you if you were going to be watching the show tonight, and here you are. So shout out John in the herd chat for sure. Yeah, overall, and I think what I really like about it is the fact that it does bring all of our fans together.
Definitely.
You know, I was almost worried about this one. I'm like, you know, with the Oilers and everything that's happening, are the Edmonton Elks going to be able to secure a good turnout?
Yeah, and I mean, it's an exciting. I think it's an exciting start of the season. The players are excited, and we have some really, really good players coming in. Like Richard Mavis here says, Brown will lead the CFL in rushing. You know, Kevin Brown is doing really, really.
If the O line can, you know, continue to build those holes for him, and we haven't seen much Kevin Brown in the preseason, right? We saw a little bit of him, but
we saw him on the first in the first game.
But you know, you only get that half. We haven't seen this team fully execute a game yet.
I'm excited.
I'm excited. It's so freaking exciting. Ryan Messer, take care of MBT. For sure, man. We definitely will. Yeah, no, and sorry, John. We did not see anybody from the Terp district there, but we did actually see Avery of Avery Sports. Didn't even get to say hi to him because he was so busy. Oh, and we also saw Tom Gazzola. We got to see handsome Tom Gazzola, so it was good to see him swing in there, and then I guess he ended up taking a video, and you were in the background clapping very happily. So
along with the cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, they put on a good show.
Totally.
But yeah, they did a couple of performances too, so that was nice. It was a good thing, and the Friday's event is going to be fantastic. Unfortunately, I can't go because I have parental duties, but I know it's going to be a really, really good time.
I am definitely meeting Warren Moon. This is a moment that I've dreamed of ever since I became an EE fan. You knew that Warren Moon had to come back at some point. To be honest, this might be one of the very last times that Warren Moon comes out here, unless it's for an expo. And he may, but I'm not going to bet on him coming back anytime soon. If you want to meet Warren Moon and if you want to talk to the man and get a picture and all of that stuff, like Century Casino, I think that they can hold 200 to 300, and they're going to be absolutely slammed. So,
well, let's talk about the other question.
Oh, that's actually good because we're seeing her chat questions about our next fan forum topic. Catherine, what you got here?
You always read them. Okay. I got this. The Edmonton Elks are starting a very important 75th season amongst many other leagues. Of course, the NHL with, the finals, CBL, WCL, and WCBL are all in action at the same time as the CFL. That's a lot of L's. Well, these factors Will these be factors on Saturday's attendance, and how will this affect future attendance at Elks home games?
That's a great question, isn't it? Thank you for grabbing that one. It's a very, very interesting time right now here in the city of Edmonton. Hockey is religion. Hockey is religion in the city of Edmonton, and the Edmonton Oilers haven't been to a cup final since 2006. This is a monumental occasion in the city of Edmonton. A Canadian team hasn't won the cup in over 30 years. Everybody is dropping everything right now to watch the Edmonton Oilers. I know we said multiple times, I said multiple times on the show, when Warren Moon comes, the upper bowl is open. the brutal truth is that
Yeah.
nobody saw. Well, apparently football. Apparently Tim Enger from Football Alberta predicted or
He prepared for
prepared for it. I couldn't have predicted that the Edmonton Oilers would be in the Stanley Cup final at the same time that Warren Moon comes back to town. This hasn't happened since the Eskimos and the Oilers were winning Stanley Cups at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The Warren Moon and the Edmonton Oilers.
Maybe he's going to be the good luck charm. If that's what happened the last time that he was around.
Well, yeah, seriously. Like last time, I would say one of the last times that Warren Moon was in town. Like, even let's say Edmonton Elks are hitting the field, Stanley Cup for the Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't overlap very often at all.
Mm-hmm.
And Warren Moon's in town for it. So it's like, what is the percentage play on this, right? And like Tim said, the Edmonton Oilers, it's such a big celebrated event that the world is basically going to be tuning in for this.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see attendance go down more than likely for our other leagues, and there's nothing that you can do to prepare there's nothing that you can do to put the air back in it,
Yeah.
And then that's okay. I mean, this is something that doesn't happen. We're watching Oil in the house. You're a big Oilers fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very exciting times. Very, very thrilled about this. Unfortunately, the Edmonton Elks and some of the other sports leagues in town are probably going to feel the brunt of that this weekend. The home opener, it's going to take the brunt of that. Luckily, the Edmonton Elks and TSN and the CFL were able to move this game up to the 2 to the 2 p.m. start time.
Yeah, I know that there's John, I see your comment over there that some people are not happy about the move because it really affects the plans they had already made in advance.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't please everybody. That's the reality of it, and you got to do what works best for ratings. I mean, this is a overall CFL TSN decision, which is a smart decision based on what we mentioned before, which is TV ratings. But also now you're opening up that opportunity for people to enjoy both, right?
Yeah.
Because the reality is that if they kept it at the same time, attendance would have been a lot worse.
Well, and even then, right? Riverhawks are also playing at the same time. So this isn't 2015 where the Edmonton Prospects are not really that big of a draw. There's no CBL. There's no alternative sports. You had football and you had hockey as your major sports. You used to have baseball. You used to have Edmonton Trappers, and people used to just eat it up. But people went to Trappers games a lot.
Mm-hmm.
People went to Elks game or Eskimos games a lot, and people still went to Oilers games a lot. So entertainment has also changed a lot in the years, right? It's maybe there was local blackouts, and maybe you wouldn't have an accessible TV all the time, or you were listening on mostly radio, and the best entertainment really was going in person.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of the best entertainment is watching from home on your couch.
And not paying, $30 for a beer.
Exactly. Well, hey, whatever, right?
Right?
Classic stadium and arena prices.
Very much so.
Right? You can, instead, for the price of one or two beverages at Commonwealth or wherever, you could be drinking at home, eating at home for really half the price or even a quarter of the price. So it's things have changed, and that's like a sentiment with Edmonton Eskimos fans 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When I would talk to Eskimos fans and be like, "Hey, are you going to the game this weekend?" No, I'm gonna grab a 12-pack and I'm gonna sit at home and I'm gonna watch the game. It's we had this problem in town many years ago. It's how do you get the kids back in? How do you get kids back into it and excited about it again? And asking their parents to drag them to the football game. Well, we see a lot of that right now with Stingers and with Riverhawks. Really, one of the best family events in town. People are talking about Riverhawks.
Yeah.
People are talking
Yeah.
about Stingers.
Well, it's like Glenn says. Weirdly, the Elks and the Riverhawks may be actually getting more mentions because of these conflicts with Oiler schedules. Right? Everybody's talking about
That's
them.
it. That's actually a
it's
thing,
awareness,
right?
awareness, which we always say, right? People are becoming aware that there's other sports that are happening in the city that are
That's a
creating
win.
conflicts.
That's a
So people
win.
are talking about them. So yes, it is a win. The way that I see it with this is just treat it like a pre-party,
Hmm.
just a
Yeah.
party before the party.
Well, people
You
were
know?
asking for a watch party too. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll put
Yes.
it up on the big screen." I can tell you right now, I'm gonna go home and watch the game. We're gonna go home with the little herd after. We're going home to watch the game.
Mhm.
Right? It's we're not interested in sitting in the stadium for 6 hours, but you know what? You probably have a lot of college kids and a
Mhm.
lot of other people that would really enjoy doing that. Um,
I'll
if
tell you what, the one game that I will for sure go out is that deciding game.
yeah,
Right? The deciding game that you know whether you're gonna win it or lose it.
yeah,
Because that's going to be the one that you definitely want to feel like you're part of the city when those celebrations are going on.
yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, you know. I mean, I think the Elks are doing what they can. They did what they could. I think it was a smart decision.
Hmm.
Personally, that's my opinion. I know it sucks when other people have made plans already that have been disrupted because of this change.
Yeah,
But at the same time, we've said it before, business is business, and they got to do what is best for the business and for everybody else. I mean, they were mindful of all the fans, Oiler fans in the city that are also Edmonton Elks fans, right?
yeah.
They want to make sure that everybody gets to enjoy both. So
Oh, exactly.
I'm excited for it. It's going to be a really fun Saturday.
Yeah. In the herd chat here, John, Edmonton Stingers had their watch party scheduled last Sunday. Had to cancel it because of NHL and Sports. Yeah, that's a thing. And that's probably why the Edmonton Elks aren't doing a watch party. Usually with the Stanley Cup final, it's
Mhm.
there's a lot of broadcast things that we as fans don't understand at all. So,
Mhm.
all I would assume there's sponsors involved. It's the big dance. It's the biggest hockey series, the
Mhm.
biggest hockey games in the whole season. It's the pinnacle. So we understand that. Um, it is what it is. Unfortunately, did see that Aaron was in the herd chat mentioning theme nights for the I'm not sure, it disappeared, but
It went
um
away.
yeah, I saw it, but he did also mention that the Edmonton Riverhawks have a theme night for every night.
Mhm.
Now the Edmonton Elks do as well. They always have. I wouldn't say for every night, but they did kind of slack off there for a couple years. But this year they actually did. The Edmonton Elks actually did theme out all of their nights.
We'll bring that up as we go, just to remind people what the theme night is going to be for the
Yeah,
next
thank
game,
you.
and
Yeah,
just to
that's
make
actually
sure that
good.
everybody is aware of
This
what's going on.
theme is the 75th home opener.
You don't need a reminder for this week. You know
Oh, just
exactly
absolutely
what's
wild.
happening.
Oh, it's so wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, the jersey is exciting. We're seeing a mixed bag right now online. We're seeing a lot of people that really like the jersey. We're seeing a lot of people that really don't like it. Right now, it's a mixed bag. I would actually say that we're at like a 65 to 70 to 30 kind of number. We're in there for like to not like.
Mhm.
All opinion matters. We are very adamant about that. Apparently, Brett Kissel is coming to the country night at the Elks game, as predicted on the Elks call.
I'm pretty sure John is the one that said that.
Really, he was the one that
I'm
predicted
pretty
it.
sure he said Brett Gissel.
Oh, there you go. So John predicted on the Elks call, as predicted on the Elks call by
Yeah.
John. There we
Yeah.
go. I knew we heard
All
it here
right.
somewhere.
Mhm.
We got a good herd chat always. All right. Do we got anything else in the herd chat before we sign off for the night?
I don't think so. I think we've gone through pretty much all of it. Oh, I do see one comment here from
No,
John. No
no Popeyes
Popeyes. I
in the
mean,
stadium.
I'm
That's
not surprised. I'm not surprised, really.
I heard that there was some issues with logistics. There's no fryers inside of Commonwealth Stadium.
Hmm.
Ask me how I know. I repair kitchen equipment as my day job.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, there's no fryers in Commonwealth Stadium, so therefore they actually had to ship in a lot of that food. They had to make it offsite and then bring it in.
Yeah,
So
that's not economical.
It's not economical. It's not feasible. They got well.
That's fair.
I think they do have fryers, but the fryers they have them only in certain areas, and they would have to move them around, and it became a mess. So, score prediction for this weekend, Len. We did say it earlier. Our score prediction is 30. What was it? 31 to 20.
Geez, I don't remember.
31 to 28, something like that. I want to say it's 31 to 28.
Yeah.
31 to 28.
Kick to win by Boris Beatty,
Yeah.
as per Scout's prediction.
Yeah, kick to win, Boris Beatty, kick to win scenario. We see what we got in that kicker. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to come out strong. We can't discount the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to come for our throats. They got AJ Ouellette out there now. AJ Ouellette has fond memories here in Commonwealth Stadium. So Corey Mace has fond memories here at Commonwealth. So it's gonna be a tight game, but I do think the Edmonton Elks will come out of it with the win.
They better.
They better. I mean,
Warren Moon's in town. I've said it before. If you're not going to do it for anybody else, do it for Warren Moon.
Michael Riley. Oh
And
my
Michael
goodness.
Riley.
I'm so excited.
And
to
all
see.
the greats. All the greats are going to be
Let
there.
me see if
Like,
I can
how embarrassing would it be if you lose that game?
the alumni list. Let me grab the alumni list. Well, we haven't even mentioned it on the. No, we're almost done. We are at the end of the show. We're just gonna bring this up real quick because the alumni list is very, very exciting. See if I can find it quick enough here. Maybe not. I know that we're gonna see the likes of Tom Wilkinson.
Mm-hmm.
I know that he's gonna be here. Warren Moon, obviously. Gizmo will be here.
Ricky Ray.
We saw Ricky Ray. Saw Sean Fleming will be here.
Judd.
Okay, here we
He's
go.
gonna
I
be
got
there.
it. So they kind of did like a generational thing here a little bit, but no, it's all mixed in. It's all mixed in. No. Okay, here we go. Okay. Bane Nori. Oh my goodness. Okay. So here's from 12 o'clock to 12:30. Here's your alumni that will be signing on Saturday. So from 12 to 12:30, we have Grant Shaw, Greg Butler, Jed Roberts, Joe Holloman, Michael Bourgeau, Michael Riley, Ricky Ray, Sean Fleming, Stephen Jones, and Rod Knopp. Okay, that's the first round.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3 rounds. Second round. Damon Allen, Henry Gizmo Williams, Larry Ruck, Mike McLean, Paul Hickey, Tom Scott, Dave Cutler, and Danny Bass. Third round. So the first round is 12 to 12:30. 12:30 to 1 is the second round. 1 to 1:30 is the third round. And you got Tom Wilkinson, Warren Moon, Brian Dickinson, Brian Kelly, Bane Nori, Dave Cutler, Ed Jones, and Hugh Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Campbell.
Like, seriously,
Hugh Campbell.
just that game needs to be won. They need to win that one. They can't not win that one when all the greats are around. So,
Dave Cutler is in town. Hugh Campbell is in town. You got Tom Wilkinson and Dave. You got Tom Wilkinson, Hugh Campbell.
mm-hmm.
Tom Wilkinson, Hugh Campbell, and Warren Moon at the same table.
Yeah,
This is like it's absolutely unreal. I can't believe that they pulled this up. Bane Nori. Bane Nori is like from the '60s team, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's an OG. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he is one of the older players. 1965. Yeah, he's a '60s boy. So guys, they managed to get players from the '60s for this. They got Hugh Campbell back. They got Warren Moon back in town.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Ray, Michael Riley. Like it's something magical. It's something magical, and I'm extremely thrilled about this. Very, 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 very thrilled for this alumni signing. So it's going to be really cool. Can't wait for it. Yeah, we're gonna see everybody there, obviously, over at the Commonwealth Field House for that autograph session. Once again, it's gonna start at 12 to 12:30, 12:30 to 1, and then 1 to 1:30. So isn't that,
Mm-hmm.
or was it 11:30? Let me reconfirm this. Let me reconfirm this.
12.
Yeah, it does start at 12. Yeah, so this starts at 12. I did not see Hector on the list, but it's weird because Hector, I'm pretty sure that I saw that Hector was confirmed earlier. So we will see what happens there. Other than that, though, everybody, we're going to close the fan forum. We appreciate everybody for chiming in on the fan forum, and we are going to shut down this show for tonight. That's all the time we have for today. We want to thank Tim Enger for joining us on the show. It was a great time talking football as always, and international football at that. We also want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning in to the show, whether you're watching on YouTube, X, or Facebook, or listening on TuneIn, iHeart, or Edmonton Sports Talk, or wherever you get your podcasts. Once again, my name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, aka Do You Even Elks?
We are the Elks Herd. This was the Elks Call, and we're going to see everybody this weekend on Saturday at the Edmonton Elks game, and then we're going to see you again on the next episode. Cheers, everybody.
Have a good night.